Hello, everyone. Tim has asked me to provide some information on a foundation initiative. We're going to discuss focused ultrasound in the treatment of pancreatic cancer and international registry. We just, Neil and I had met about a year and a half ago when we talked about establishing this registry because there's, how do I advance this?
Can you advance the slide, please?
There we go. So I just wanted to quickly give a quick overview of pancreatic cancer. Most of you know about this, and then we'll go into reasons why we are pursuing a registry and why this kind of fits in with what Kathy has already talked about. So pancreatic cancer, again, a major cause of cancer deaths both in the U.S. and in the world. We have over 55,000 new cases here last year. There's over 350,000 cases worldwide, so quite prevalent. They present at advanced stage. 80 to 90% are unresectable at the time of diagnosis, and we just have not had effective therapies, poor outcomes even with our best therapies. And palliation of symptoms is important, especially pain relief, and focused ultrasound has been demonstrated in many non-controlled trials to be effective in this endeavor. This is just, again, a snapshot from the SEER database showing the problems with pancreatic cancer. If we discover it at a localized state, they have a better 5-year survival, 34.3%. But if you look in the pie chart, only 10% are diagnosed at a localized stage, and most of them are diagnosed at a distant stage or with metastatic disease, with over 52% diagnosed at stage 4 with only a 2.7% 5-year survival. So obviously more effective therapies are needed, and I think at this meeting there were many presentations that show why focused ultrasound has a potential role in treatment of this disease. And some potential benefits include both improved pain control, which has been demonstrated, improved survival, which has been shown in a few studies, local tumor control by ablating the tumor or enhancing drug delivery to decrease the growth of it. And by doing that, you can decrease tumor-related complications such as bowel obstruction, biliary obstruction. And on the research side of things, we're starting to look at enhanced drug delivery, see if we can get better penetration of drug into the tumor, potentially decrease treatment-related toxicity by giving lower systemic doses that are more effective. And what's become very exciting in the last couple of years is this enhancement of cancer-specific immunity. I think there are several talks on this during this meeting, and this is a particularly exciting area in pancreatic cancer. And unlike other therapies, especially radiation therapy, we really have the potential to retreat and retreat, so there's no dose limitation with HIFU. Here are some clinical ultrasound-guided focused ultrasound systems that are currently available. If you have a company and your device isn't shown here, please contact me. I'd love to include your device in this. But these are some systems that are ultrasound-guided, and then we also have two MR-guided systems, the InsightTech and the Profound system, that have been used or are about to be used for treatment of pancreatic cancer. So clinical devices exist. Pancreatic cancer has been treated with focused ultrasound for many, many years, actually started in China probably in the 90s. So we have quite a bit of data. And this is a meta-analysis that was led by Peiji, and this was actually supported by the Focused Ultrasound Foundation because it was done by 2 visiting students that Peiji supervised at Stanford, and they did this outstanding job. They did a meta-analysis looking at all the data that has been published. And in this, they identified about 23 studies that were worth looking into with a various number of patients. But the only outcome they really could kind of get a handle on was the response to pain with HIFU treatment. And part of that is just the data, and the way data is presented in these various studies is all over the map. But they do show that patients who are treated with focused ultrasound basically had an 80% response in decrease in pain, which is remarkable, actually. So for a non-invasive treatment, most of these were ultrasound guided. Again, most of them are out of China, with a handful in Asia, other countries in Asia and Europe. But this shows that there's quite a bit of data out there, but this was the only endpoint that could be evaluated. Furthermore, if you look at this funnel plot, it suggests that there's an empty area in the bottom left-hand corner. So this suggests that there might be publication bias. They did statistical analysis on this, but found that it wasn't statistically significant, but there was clearly a trend towards publication bias. So again, the question is, are we capturing all the data that's out there? And probably not, because we know that there are issues with publication bias when it comes to interventional studies. This is one of the most intriguing reports from my good friend and colleague, Juan Videla out of Spain, where he treated 36 patients with both stage 3, stage 4 disease, and he showed 33.5% survival at almost 5 years. This is almost unheard of for any intervention for this stage. If you remember one of the earlier slides that I showed you, overall survival, 5-year survival for both for stage 3, stage 4 should be no better than 15%. And so this is quite remarkable survival numbers. But he will tell you there's selection bias in this, and not that he's selecting these patients, but the patients that get referred to him are patients who have survived and have made it to get HIFU therapy. And so there's clearly a patient population that is getting to HIFU therapy that has some type of survival benefit. But we haven't been able to capture any of that information prospectively. So the Focused Ultrasound Foundation is supporting this registry called Array. I didn't know we could do this. I consider this cheating, but they came up with this just from letters, sequential letters in Pancreatic Cancer International Registry. So, but the name's cool and they got a nice logo. I had nothing to do with it, but it's a catchy name. It's a good name. So the objectives of the registry really is that they're to obtain common core data elements, like Kathy mentioned. We have, historically, there's probably been tens of thousands of patients who have been treated for pancreatic cancer using focused ultrasound. Again, probably over 90% of those have been done in China and using parameters that are all over the map. So what we would like to do is prospectively evaluate patients who are treated with focused ultrasound, and we are not dictating how they get treated. We are just trying to find out. We just want to know how they got treated, and then to record certain key data elements based on these sites. And so we're looking at about 10 international sites. They haven't been solidified yet, and so if you're a site that is doing pancreatic cancer or is very interested in starting to do pancreatic cancer, please contact us. The goal initially is to enroll 100 patients, which is on the low side for a registry, but we're hoping that the data looks good and that this appeals to the foundation, and hopefully we'll be able to continue this either with additional foundation funding or raise additional funds for this. The core data elements that we're looking at treatment parameters. Is it MR guided? Is it ultrasound guided? Are they doing hyperthermia, ablation, drug delivery, or other potentially immune upregulation? We want to understand what the patient population that's being treated, what stage, what prior therapies that they've had, how long had they been getting therapy prior to receiving HIFU therapy. Again, just to get a better understanding of what the population is that's getting treated with focused ultrasound. We obviously want to look at the safety profile of this. We think that has significant impact on future regulatory approval. We want to standardize the measurement of pain relief, again, since it was a little bit over the map, and we want to catch it prospectively to avoid missing some of the more negative responses to focused ultrasound therapy. And then we're going to carefully look at the tumor response using RECIST criteria, and again, also obviously look at survival in patients with pancreatic cancer. So Kathy had shown this, the elements of the registry. So with the help of the Focused Ultrasound Foundation and KAI, we've defined the scope and the goal. So again, this is not a regulatory registry. I would consider this more kind of a hypothesis generating registry. We want to see what people are doing and, test certain things such as pain relief and tumor response. But for the most part, this is to find out where the gaps are and where potential areas of research and opportunities for research exist. We have identified stakeholders, and we have created a scientific advisory committee. Again, with the help of the foundation and KAI, we think that we've built a very good multidisciplinary registry team. The governance structure has been established. KAI has done an outstanding job in assessing the feasibility and sustainability, and has given us guidance to make improvements. Right now, most of us who are in this field, we're vested in this, and so physician and patient recruitment and engagement isn't that difficult, although getting approval at local sites for IRB approval is kind of the most challenging aspect of this, and we hope to continue this on over 100 patients if successful. And the registry platform core data elements, the data sources have all been defined with the help of the foundation and KAI. So we think that we're in a good place to start. So at this point, we're looking at 9 specific sites. Again, we're open to additional sites. These are sites that are spread out around the world. So, and we're limiting enrollment per site because we don't want a certain site to kind of have too much influence on the registry. We're trying to get representative sites from Asia, Europe, and North America. Contracts have been set, the case reports forms have been finalized, and we're hoping to enroll our first patient in November. And I really appreciate the efforts of the foundation and KAI for moving this forward. Again, this is something that Neil and I had just discussed a little over a year ago, and so this has moved forward quite rapidly. So that's the summary of the status, and thank you very much.